Thank you for joining today's webinar. So my name is David Makinwa. I'll be taking you through how you can provide a smarter procurement. So my webinar topic is from oversight to insight, the spend capability, visibility in SAP, and compliance and procurement. So SAP has built intelligence around its software, and one of them is your spend visibility and compliance and procurement. And you're going to see how this make your procurement smarter. Yeah, so what you'll be learning today, we look at the holistic spend visibility, how it operates in S4, SAP S4HANA, and how compliance automation works. We're talking about product compliance checks for dangerous goods, safety data sheets, supply assessment, and marketability. You're going to see how this logic is built in SAP S4HANA. Then talking about supplier governance, how you can build policy and governance around your suppliers. Then what are the strategic impact, how this software can move you from manual oversight to automated compliance, right? So how it will enhance your business, your day-to-day activities. So starting with spend visibility, this is how the UI looks like in SAP S/4HANA Cloud. You could see the previous year's current year, the spend rate in current year, of contract spends in previous year. So this is how visible it is in SAP S/4HANA. It's going to give you graphical representation charts on how you can understand your data better. Is it by trend, right? Or by supplier, material group, or purchasing group? So this is what you get when you have SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So the purchase spend dashboard offers purchasers an overview of purchase spends in their organization. So just like I've mentioned earlier, look at the previous either by material group, purchasing group, or supplier, or by trend. Then talking about off-contract spend amount, right? This is going to give you a more in SAP. So still on purchasing spend dashboard, you can use this dashboard to perform different tasks, right? You can adjust your view by applying filters for specific suppliers, company code, material group, and more. So you can use the filter to drill down to the specifics you need in SAP, right? And these are not just any kind of drilling. You can make it role and screen variant for personalization. So you can say the internal sales representative can see this view, right? The purchasing manager can have this view. So it's based on authority and roles. So most of these dashboards appear based on your roles in the system, right? So and you can manipulate and query your data across any dimensions, right? You need in easy to use SAP Cloud design time. So you can query it, you can adapt it to any dimension you need, right? You can analyze off contracts, right, spend across quarters and across various time frames and top dimensions, right? So this is what you have when you have SAP spends visibility in your ERP. You can see the field is amazing and simple to understand, right? So as you can see from the screen, you see the current year, the previous year, the count in current year, previous year, net amount in current year, net amount in previous year. So you can filter it by either by purchasing group, the supplier, the company code, the purchasing organization, the material group or plant, right? So that's how adaptive the software is. The purchasing spend dashboards, you can use one of the things I love about this is it increases transparency into spending regions. When you use your geospatial map, show spend by region, bubble size indicated spend volume. So as you can see on the diagram here, this is just your bubble size, right? So it's trying to show the spend volume. So you can put this right by region, right? So and you filter the analyzed data based on region, okay, based on your maybe your region, right? The data relevant to only the selected region is displayed on all the graph, the charts table for each tab. So with this, you can monitor compliance issues related to payment terms, tracking of non-compliant purchase order, where payment terms in purchase order does not match with payment terms in supplier master. So, but this is the beauty of the software. It's very robust that it can give you this kind of capability when in use. And when you're involved with um, buying, you need this kind of analytics to actually give you a booster. Now, when we move to service spend, so you have a comprehensive view of service purchase order spend in various dashboards, all in one screen, right, with flexible adoption capability. So the SAP Analytics Cloud solution retrieves service purchase order spend data from SAP HANA in real time and visualize the data in various dashboards, right? A user story provides 6 pages, like you have the spend visibility, execution in progress, limit control, order status, and ad hoc analysis and prediction. You provide detailed analytics using drill-down capabilities in various dimensions, as you can see on the screen. Right, these features has pre-delivered content also, and predictive capabilities are available out of the box. So as you can see on the screen, you can adapt it to whatever filter or whatever features you want to gain. If you look closely, right, you see some of the analytics that has been selected and how it displays here, right? Like previous years, current years, either by region, either by purchasing group, and what have you. You can drill it down and to give you this same and even more enhanced features. Then moving on to compliance, how does compliance in SAP works for purchasing process, right? So we'll start with product compliance and purchasing process. The product compliance is a way to manage compliance for your product by assessing their marketability in different countries and regions, classifying products according to dangerous goods regulations, and shipping required safety data sheets. So this is how it works. If a product has been classified as a dangerous good, the system also checks if all necessary dangerous goods data is available and whether the transportation of the product is allowed, right? So depending on the outcome of this check, the system sets the corresponding status for the item based on the item status, right? So the system also sets the status in the header of the stock transfer. This is what it looks, right? So you have dangerous goods that you want to transport, right? So this map is going to tell you if uh, a particular goods is restricted from in a particular region, right? So on the map, you see the legends have the green is allowed, the orange means it's restricted. So this will help you with your transportation, and in some area, the means of transporting these goods is different. Some by rail, some is not allowed to fly, and what have you. So you're going to have this capability in the system. It's going to give you how you can treat your transportation if whatever you're transporting to a particular region is marketable in that region. And if it's not, if it's forbidden or if it's allowed. So SAP has these features that boost your decision making, your real-time decision making, and how you can be strategic in transporting or meeting this compliance status of this particular region. So with this, you have an informed decision using SAP ERP. Moving on, still on the product compliance in purchase processing. So you have the following capabilities. You have automatic check of all compliance related products for for available safety data sheet and allow dangerous goods transport. So there are some goods that has to meet the compliance relevant for transportation of that stock or goods. So if the compliance is not met, there's no way the goods will leave the premise, right? So this helps you to keep goods with their compliance so that it won't cause harm to other people, either the driver or the region you are taking it to. So for SAP S/4HANA Cloud for product compliance, it helps enforce compliance at each stage or at each step of the product lifecycle. With integration of compliance information in purchasing process, such as stock transfer, companies can ensure that safety information is available and compliant transport leave the company premises. So without a compliant transport, no way the goods is leaving the company's premises. So each check executed at the creation of intercompany stock transport order, automatic block of stock transport orders with items with missing safety data sheets, right? So missing dangerous goods classification or for forbidding transport on all modes of transportation. So if a particular criteria is not met for transporting that particular stock or goods, it will be forbidden. So it makes you compliant check, right? So automatic removal of block once safety data sheets and dangerous goods classification are available and transports are allowed. So if see, this is creating a smarter procurement for your company and your industry, right? It minimizes the risks around this stock or goods and the risks around transporting this kind of dangerous goods. So with SAP, it has built-in intelligence for this scenario. Moving on, yeah. So what are the data in purchasing processing, the product compliance data in purchasing processes? I'm going to take each of these four. We have the dangerous goods check in purchasing processes. We have safety data sheet check in purchasing processes. We have supplier check in purchasing documents. Then we have product marketability assessment. We've got to check how this scenario plays out in SAP ERP. So the dangerous goods check in purchasing processes. If a product has been marked as relevant for compliance in the product, the system checks dangerous goods data as a purchasing document is created or edited. So if an item in the document has been classified as a dangerous good, the system checks if released dangerous goods assignments are available and whether transportation of the product is allowed, forbidden, or restricted. Depending on the outcome of this check, the system issues warning and blocks items or entire business documents. So if any of these dangerous goods is not compliant enough to leave the premises, there's a block, right? That's what it's saying. So the intelligence around the software is to avoid dangerous goods that are not compliant leaving the premises, right? To avoid risks. So depending on the outcome of this check, whether it's allowed, forbidden, or restricted, the system issues warning and block items or entire business document. This is a good to have in your company. Moving on to the next data, we have the safety data sheet check in purchasing process. This, if a product has been marked as relevant for compliance in the product master, the system verifies whether a safety data sheet is required and whether the relevant safety data sheet is available in the specific languages as the purchasing document is created or edited. Depending on the outcome of this check, the system issues warning and blocks item or entire document. So for instance, you are creating a master data of a particular product, right? A product master data. You can actually tick if this product should be uh, compliant before it leaves the premises. Once you mark these products, right, as having compliance before it's being transported. Each time you create the product for a particular PO, or it will raise a blocker if available dog safety sheets are available, right? And if they are not available, and if they are being properly followed by whoever is handling that product. So let's say you are shipping a dangerous goods, right? You're going to check, okay, if all the tools needed are compliant, right, to transport that particular goods. That's what they're saying here. So the safety data sheet checking in purchasing process, depending on the outcome of this check, the system issues warning and block items or entire documents if it's not compliant. The next data is supplier check in purchasing documents. In the product compliance, you can assess, right? You can assess suppliers and set a status to indicate if a supplier is approved or blocked. This information is used in a check that considers the status of the supplier assessment of compliance relevant product during the creation of a purchasing document, business document, right? Fields on item level and on header level indicate the status of the check. So here you are using it to assess supplier and set the status to indicate if the supplier is approved or blocked, right? So if it's just checking if the supplier assessment is compliant relevant to that particular product, right? So you're just checking, okay, is the supplier approved or blocked based on the criteria set for compliance, right? The next is product marketability assessment. I love this so much, right? This doesn't allow you to sell a particular product to regions where it's restricted or forbidden, right? So we have the marketability assessments and compliance assessments that are specific to products marketability. The goal of marketability assessment is to check if a product can be produced or sold in certain countries and regions. So these are the intelligence SAP has built over the years to help you make great decisions, right? So imagine you transporting a particular stock, a good to a region that is forbidden or restricted. Number one, apart from bringing back the stock, it can be seized, right? And look at the cost of transportation, right? And maybe they have some laws that prohibits the importation of those particular stock, right? So it's with this intelligence in SAP, it's going to save you the stress and the cost of even creating or sending these goods in the first place. So checking the marketability assessments is one of the things, the key intelligence in SAP S/4HANA Cloud, right? So a marketability assessment is created automatically when a compliance requirement for marketability, also known as a marketability requirement, is assigned to a product or raw material via a compliance purpose, right? So there are products that are not allowed or forbidden in a particular region. Once you are creating that particular product master data, you can impute some of these marketability assessments so that when this same product is to be sold in a particular region that is forbidden, it will raise an alert that this is forbidden in this country. There's a restriction on this product that cannot be sold or sent to this particular region, right? So these are the data you have. You have the product marketability, you have the supplier check in purchasing document, you have safety data sheets in purchasing process, then you have the dangerous goods check in purchasing process. Moving on, but still on the product compliance data in purchasing process, we have the product compliance supplier check status. We have product marketability status, we have dangerous goods status, right? Even at the header level, you have the safety data status. These status fields are available in the following apps, like you have it in your manage purchase app and create purchase app. when you start using. But you can see my diagram, right? You see from here, you see the product compliance supplier check status, okay, not relevant. Product marketability status, okay. Then dangerous goods status, partially blocked, transportation forbidden, right? Then you have the safety data sheet status, okay, approved. So this will give you the informations and intelligence to have informed decisions, right? So on the header, you see stuff like product compliance, and you have all of this information. So it's going to check for product compliance, supplier check status, product marketability, is it okay? Uh, Dangerous goods status, and safety data sheets, okay, approved. But for the dangerous goods status, you see it's saying partially blocked, transport forbidden. So this is how the intelligence is built in SAP S/4HANA. Then if you go to the footer, and you still see the same information, but I'm just more for specific on the dangerous goods status. You see you have dangerous goods status, warning, transport restricted. So these are the intelligence you need in your day-to-day. So he's not requiring you to have all of this information. This information are built at the product master, and it extends to people that are using this or are creating these EOs and what have you, and it's giving them intelligence on the go, right? Then we have product compliance and purchase contracts, right? So the product compliance supply check status fields for the result of the product compliance check is available in the product compliance section at the header item level of the purchase contract, right? So here you see at the header level, you see the product compliance. This is a contract, right? And it's going to list whatever is required. You say product compliance check blocked by supplier, right? So this is a contract. So if the status of the item is set to block by the supplier, the purchaser gets a message to block the item manually to prevent it from further processing in the purchase order. An item in status blocked, decision pending, a compliance request for the product stewardship specialist is created to check the assessment of the supplier. If the compliance result of the assessment is positive, the document is unblocked, right? Then we have trade compliance. So we just ran it off on product compliance. Then where the product compliance focus on criteria or compliance that must be met around products. Then talking about product compliance in purchase documents. So we have things like international trade compliance can be used to ensure that international trading transactions meet international trade provisions, right? Where you have international trade compliance checks are integrated and performed for following purchasing document with corresponding services. So if, as you can see on my screen, right, you see the available trade compliance checks. So now for purchase order, you have the legal control, you have embargo, and you have SAP watch list screening. You have stock transfer that is just on the legal control. Then you have purchasing scheduling agreement on legal embargo and SAP watch. Then you have the purchase contract, which is at embargo level and SAP watch screening. So in the purchase order, you can see the commodity code on item level under material data. The commodity code is taken from the product master data. So as I said earlier, most of this control is built on the product master data when you are creating the products, right? You can build this compliance at the product level so that people that use this product or data in their day-to-day transaction will even have control, right? Or the authority to alter some of these things, right? So for items without a product number, this field can be changed and commodity codes can be entered. So let's go to the purchase order. During the initial creation of the purchase order, we're just talking about the processes. The trade compliance checks are performed. If the result is a block in international trade, the purchase order can only be saved in status on hold. As soon as the block international trade is released, the purchase order is saved again on the hold status is released if there are no other issues apart from the trade compliance that result in an hold status. If the purchase order is changed again, and for example, a new item is added where there's again a trade compliance check with a negative result, then the status on hold cannot be set again, and hence the purchase order cannot be saved. The relevant partner and country are taken from goods supplier. If there's no goods supplier, then the supplier is relevant, right? So most of these things are key when you are making international trades. Then on purchase scheduling agreements, for purchase scheduling agreement, the international trade checks only work with the SAP Fury app. All right. So when you are using there's what called that's a UI. You have to make sure that you add the scheduling lines in the scheduling agreement before you save. In addition, saving should be carried out as save in preparation. Otherwise, the function does not work, right? Then we have the purchase requisition. A trade compliance check is triggered on saving an item by choosing order. If the trade compliance check returns an error, then a purchase requisition is created in a block state. So I'm just narrating this to just tell you how much intelligence is built in SAP just on trade compliance and product compliance. As you can see on the screen, you see blocking indicator says blocked by trade compliance, right? So make sure you enter a desired supplier or fixed supplier in the purchase requisition. If the purchase requisition is blocked by trade compliance, this is indicated in the document itself, right? Then if this field is set to block by trade compliance, then the follow-on function of creating a purchase order is prevented by the system. So if these compliance are not met, there's no way you proceed from your purchase requisition to purchase order, right? And if the trade compliance block is resolved, this field is reset. This is amazing, right? All right. So thank you. That will be the end of my presentation. But I know you've seen the holistic expense visibility we have in SAP Cloud. You see how compliance can be automated. So once you create it at the product level or the product master level, this is not something each time you want to do a particular PO, you go back and keep creating it now and then. Once it's created at the product master level, it stays. The rules is stated, right? And everybody in the organization must comply to this rule. Then you see the supplier governance, the strategic impact, how you move from manual oversight to automated compliance. With this, it will save a lot of human error, right? It will save the company a lot of cost, right? And create safety in our society. Thank you so much for attending to this webinar. Victor, please.
Thank you so much, David. Please, if you'd like to get more information or maybe reach out to David, if you check the description of this video, access information on the place there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.